Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Advanced Tactics Gold. This is episode number 3, and right away we're facing some pressure from the French, and also the Germans. They've already cut off our supply lines, which did disrupt some of our reinforcements in the north. You can see that Bristol did not receive any of the Special Forces reinforcements because the rail line was taken by the French. And I've been considering my options here. Unfortunately, if this unit, which is pretty strong, it did faithfully defend the oil point, but it does not have enough action points to get into a battle with this guy. In order to calculate the amount of action points you need to engage in combat, you have to take the cost of moving into the hex. So in this case, infantry moving into normal plains hex is, this is plains right now, fields. Same difference though, is 30. You have to take 10 extra action points for moving into enemy territory. This is this plus 10 AP. Anytime you're moving into enemy territory, it costs an additional 10 action points. And then you also have to take into account that I'm moving through an enemy zone of control. By attacking them, it's considered part of their zone of control. Makes sense. And that is also an additional 10 action point penalty. So it would take 50 action points for this infantry, if he was here, to attack this infantry. Now, I'm not going to have that left over because it's going to cost 30 for each of these, which will leave him with only 40 action points remaining. And that's very unfortunate. The only units I have available to attack then are my 150 rifle, who's a little bit low on readiness, 71. But that is correctly reflected in his combat value of 46 here. And then I also have this other, well, identical rifleman basic infantry unit, who also has a combat value of 46. Now their estimated strength is only 33. I have reconnaissance of 134 on the hex, which is a pretty solid number. Later on we'll get this up to like 200s, 300s, but for now over 100 is, you can be reasonably sure it's not going to change by 20. It may be 30 or 35, but however, I prefer to attack only when I have over 3-to-1 odds. And this is actually just at the cusp of it. So 33 times 3 is about 100, and 46 times 2, because I have 2 units, is about 100. So it's just slightly under the 3-to-1 ratio that I prefer to attack with. So what I'm going to do is, if they want to go ahead and ruin my supply lines, I guess I'll just pay them a favor by doing the same right back. And the goal here is, attacking is a lot worse than defending. So equal units, all other things being equal, a defender is, we can just see from the combat values here, combat stats, is usually twice as good on defense as they are on attack. Which means I do want to force them to attack. And how can I do that in this situation? Because they've kind of taken a strategic point, which usually forces your enemy to react to you. But I'm going to kind of just, it's like that game you play with the baseball bat where you keep putting one hand over the top. I'm going to escalate things a little further by actually cutting them off from supply and then seeing what they do instead. So my move is not to attack them, which I could do, but to move here. I'm going to move this unit in here, and then, because he couldn't move to this area, but then I still have one more unit left, and we're going to move that guy here. So what I've done is I've cut this unit off from its supply. Unfortunately, this does leave Bristol a little vulnerable, but I'm just assuming that like 4-to-1 defending, especially with the machine guns people here, that we should be okay. Now though, there is a small, you could say that this has left even more so York vulnerable. And I guess I have to agree. Is it time to lose this oil point though? No, I don't think so. Let's see how far this guy can get. Oh, he can only get to here, so he can't get here. Yeah, well, we just have to hope that they cannot take York on the next turn. Actually, I do have one way of securing York a little better. I'm going to go ahead and designate this unit as a Special Forces unit. So now he's the 3rd Special Forces. And rather than waiting for reinforcements in the normal automatic method, I'm just going to directly resupply him using my rail capacity. So we'll just directly give him the 50 Rangers that he eventually will have. And this is going to take most of my rail capacity, but obviously to defend a critical point, it's worth it. And cities are like the definition of your critical points. Good, so now we have, although these guys are only a combat strength of 15 because, yes, they're down to a readiness of 25 from 100 because of that transfer. But there's nothing I can do about that. I'm just going to hope. Actually, I'm not even sure when the readiness is adjusted. I'm not sure if it's on the end of your turn or on the beginning of your turn. So if it's on the end of the turn, we'll definitely be okay because these guys will gain their readiness before they are attacked. I suspect it's not, that it only happens at the beginning of your turn. In which case, I mean, I still have I have a 200 entrenched machine gun, submachine gun, which will fight 50% better or 25% better anyway. Although his combat strength is not terribly high to begin with. So, 25% bonus to something small is still something relatively small. I'm just going to kind of hope that nothing bad happens. Like, they have here 2 units. It looks like they did already research infantry guns, so I went with my infantry upgrade and they went with infantry guns. I'm definitely going to be getting artillery, but probably not on this turn. I could. I mean, I was checking out. I could get artillery this turn. 84 would just be. I would just have enough after. Well, I might as well do this right now. After I upgrade this raw, which is going to take 40 political points. So upgrading this raw to level 2 is going to give me some more ore. We'll see that this goes up to 60. And now I'm down to 85, and it costs 84 to do the artillery. The problem is, if I do the artillery now, I don't have any way of building it because I'm not going to waste city production points on artillery. Eventually I'm going to build a artillery factory, or gun factory I think it's called, and that'll be the production point for my artillery. Okay, so these guys are done. They don't have enough action points to do anything else, and that's fine. The only thing left for them is basically just upgrading this raw. After that I'll start working on oil, but since right now we don't have any oil using units, that's not a high priority. Okay, so what else could I do? Actually, there is another trick I could do. Although this ranger unit is only worth 15, and that is pretty small, I can just keep adding groups of 15, like another combat value of 15 in there. And I don't know, I don't have anything better to do, so maybe I'll do that. Let's see. We have some riflemen here. How many riflemen are missing from units that basically just aren't being filled yet? Okay, the third here has all 50. The first has all 50. The second here is totally empty because, of course, he can't get his units. Can I transfer units to this using... No. Eventually, if you transfer between 2 different headquarters, you can choose which headquarters is going to use the land capacity or rail capacity, but since this headquarters just has no capacity at all, the only way we're going to get this unit to have any units is by strategically moving. I'm using S, but you could also use, let's see, this is strategic move. Strategic transfer it's called, and this is T, the transfer that I typically do to swap units. So let's strategic transfer this unit over to here. It'll cost nothing because it's just a blank unit. And now we can actually transfer. So do I want to transfer? It doesn't affect you as poorly to transfer into a blank unit this way. Oh, it's this one. When you're part of the same headquarters. So let's just see. This will probably lower it to, maybe it'll lower it to 50. Let's find out. Just out of curiosity. What does it lower it to? It lowers it to 64. Okay, that's not bad. And they still have 92 action points. So let's go ahead and push them. Well, actually, I do want to make sure that I correctly defend from the Germans as well. And I think to do that, I basically just want to hold... Okay, let's go ahead and for the first time zoom in a little bit closer. Now I've chosen the unit layout at this point where you see up to 5 units. You can also just have them as big stacks, but I don't find that very informative. I'd much rather have 5 visible. So this is the display mode I'm going to opt for. Not opt for, not opponent force, but opposing force, but okay. Enough about that. Let's move this unit into the forest here, which I think is the best defense point. So it's a pretty natural defense just to follow this river. I'm, for the time being, going to assume that they won't go down here yet, because that would probably put them out of supply. And if they do, I can kind of do the same thing I was doing up here, where I try to surround them. This is a very aggressive move. It's I should mention. But I'm just expecting that their strength is not high enough yet to break back through my lines and free this unit. His only choice is going to be either to break himself out by attacking, which is good. That's what I want to do. I want to defend because I'm better at defense than attack. If he doesn't do that, he's eventually slowly going to starve. I think it'll probably take him 3 turns before his readiness is like seriously noticeably reduced. Okay, and I think this unit is just going to continue to hold this oil. This unit could also attack him, which would cut him off from supply. Not true. Okay, they're still supplied from the Supreme Headquarters. But all of these units are probably cut off from supply. Yeah, you can see that they're receiving no... but that one requested 0 because it's a blank unit. Okay. Its supply stockpile is 6. It requested... so 632 was requested out, and that was all sent out. But now it has only 6 supply left. And it did receive supply in. I guess it's just good at this point to mention that I don't know how this unit is being supplied. Oh yes, okay, because it's not technically, it's rail and truck for supply. Supply automatically gives you trucks for some reason. If we look at supply mode, we can see that they just bounce around this way. Okay, they bounce around to the right, but obviously last turn they were doing this. And that's all still green. Even this engineering unit over here is still green. So that's good. Speaking of this engineering unit, there's nothing he needs to do with this raw anymore. So I suppose we'll move him up to here. We'll leave him, I'm not sure I want him to be in harm's way because engineers right now are more valuable than their production cost to replace. So they only cost 100 to build, but I actually want their engineering points to build up. So I think I'll just leave it here to kind of form the back of the line. I might even have just moved them into the oil. That might have been a smart decision, but oh well, too late. So yeah, let's move this guy out, as I was mentioning earlier when I was talking about supply. And just hope that there's nothing that can happen in the south. If they move to the north, I still have this secondary stream, which defends me. And we'll have to reassess where my front lines should be, which I thought would be this stream, of course. But we'll reassess if I'm actually able to take Nîmes and Coutances. So let's see, what else do we have left to do? We just probably have to move some people forward. So this unit looks like he was starting to move forward. I'm not... Oh yeah, this is definitely... I'm not sure if it's faster for me to... Yeah, I guess it's actually faster for me to move here. It might be better next turn. So I think... Actually, this will take 50 to move into, right? Does forest slow down infantry? I forget. Let's see, fields, forest pine. No, only 30 AP. Now, technically, this is actually forest leaf or something like that, loaf. But still 30. Only forest jungle costs 40. So it'll cost 30 plus an additional 10 for the stream, which means 40. And then, although this is a stream crossing, I have a bridge there, so we'll use the bridge, so it'll be 30-30. And that'll leave us at 100, so next turn he'll be able to move 3 more hexes, which is good. Okay, we'll leave the submachine guns defending Plymouth, and... This unit is also doing no good here. I suppose what I could do is strategically move him forward, like so. How far forward do we want to move? Because this is kind of an important transportation vein here as well. It's the one that I want to use to eventually take over Nîmes. So, yeah, I think what we'll do is reinforce from there. We'll just have to see if we have enough rail capacity left. I'm not sure we will. Yes, we can do this. Let's do it. And since we put 50 rangers in here, we might as well make this a special forces unit. Ah, yes, that's right. I was supposed to be doing that to York. I forgot. Well, that's okay. I don't. Oh, we do have another. I'm not sure I have enough rail capacity to put anything into York, but whatever we can, we will. So let's transfer this to a new headquarters. Actually, let's leave it under the same headquarters, which will just increase the readiness, or I should say, decrease the readiness loss for transferring these units, because they will be moving from one headquarters to a unit in the same headquarters. I'm not sure how many we're going to be able to get over there. It looks like 10. Or 11. Nope, just 10. Okay, well, fair enough. So 10 more Rangers, that's another combat value of 10. So these are a readiness of 75. That is significantly better. If I was thinking more clearly, I would have done the same thing here. Just had this third Special Forces actually still under the Supreme headquarters for the time being, and then switch them over to my North headquarters later. But that's too late for that now. And I think this is enough to defend York. I feel a lot safer with that extra 10 combat strength. Okay, so I think that's all we want to do for this turn. We have one more blank unit we can use eventually. I guess this guy will keep moving forward as well. So he can get here. He can also get here. And the question is, do I want to... This unit still has movement left over. Do I want to spread out, or do I want to just... Mainly, I know I mainly want to defend this forest area, because any territory around this forest can easily be attacked since it's just fields. It's a tough decision. I guess for now we'll just move this unit forward and move this unit all the way in. Oh, and that extra little bit of unit was enough reconnaissance for us to be able to see what's moving towards us. Nothing we can't handle. So we'll let those guys come, and we can spread these forces out next turn, however we see fit. Good. So we don't have enough strategic, or I should say we don't have enough capacity to transport troops around. The only thing really remaining, if we want, is we could transfer some units into our blank division here, and then send them forward walking. Which will be slow, but it might still be faster than waiting for enough rail capacity to transport people. Because we do have a lot of transportation that needs to happen up here. A lot of special forces need to be delivered. It's going to take up a lot of my capacity. So I think I will just send some people marching. Let's create one more unit of riflemen. Yeah, I was debating whether or not I should do another machine gun, submachine gun group instead. But I'm going to leave those here, and I'll transfer them in like on a as-needed basis. So we'll get this. We might as well make it part of our basic infantry model. And we'll send these guys marching. Good. I think that's everything we want to do this turn. So we'll just quickly look over production to make sure everything makes sense there. We might have a few changes to make. And then we'll end the turn. Okay, so production. Let's actually zoom out a little bit. Production overview. Okay, so what do we have going on here? We've gotten down to 0 machine gun. So let's just go ahead and go crazy with the submachine guns. They're an excellent unit. Might as well just get a whole bunch of them in the beginning. And they're relatively cheap. Just 110, so. We will also continue to produce Rangers here. I think that's a good thing. And we would also like to get that extra supply. That's good. Here, well, staff is really important. So I'm going to cut the machine gun production here and just boost this to 50 more staff. Because I know I'm running low on staff. Okay, so we have here... Oh gosh, an inefficiency. So it looks like last turn I forgot to actually set my supply or something. So we ended up ending the turn with a waste of, gosh, 4,000 production points, half a city's worth. I think what I'm going to do is boost trains and forget everything else for the time being. the small political point production we have is sufficient because I'm not hugely investing in research quite yet. I need units because we need to set up defensive lines first. And I need the trains to be able to ferry people around, so we'll get the extra trains. We also finished machine gun production here, so we could spend the extra 20 on another unit. How many staff are we building? 56. I'm not sure whether it's... Well, I guess we don't want to completely halt machine gun production. So let's have this guy continue to build machine guns. So maybe Liverpool will be my dedicated machine gun producer, in the same way that Oxford has become my dedicated submachine gun producer. And here we just have some more staff. I'm fine with that, so we get 56 total. Okay, good. Well, that's really unfortunate about London last turn. That was an oversight on my part. We'll just consider that giving the AI a little bit better chance of succeeding. And that all being done, let's go ahead and end the turn and see how the French react. Well, they're moving forces in. I don't think I saw... Oh, wow, they're plowing through. Okay, that's not good. So no battles were fought, but it looks like the Germans are really coming on strong. They decided to go through this area, which I presumed was completely unsupplyable. So we'll have to probably call this 4th Basic Infantry back. I am interested in seeing if the... Oh, yeah. So there's definitely some action going on over here. Lorient, it looks like, is being nearly invaded by the Russians, and the Russians are trying to supply from Tiver. Anyway. So we do have some units that are out of supply because their headquarters is cut off, but let's see. I think that's all I'm going to do for this turn, so I'll just save it here. I'll come back next time and we'll do our next turn. Thanks for watching.